Y'all ready for the Her Fire Tour? Well, you guys, we have another amazing speaker for the Her Fire Tour. I am so super excited. So look, if you're coming in, make sure you go ahead and like, share, comment. Let me know where you're at. Tag a friend, tag your sister, your mother, all those women that you know that need a breakthrough in this season. This powerful, powerful soul, Dr. Tanya. Girl, what's going on?
I'm good. What's going on with you?
I'm so super excited to have you to be a part of the platform. But I want to take a little minute and just give a mini introduction just about who you are as a woman. We're going to get into the doctor part in a moment, but who you are as a woman.
So this journey, just like everybody else, has been a long journey, and I stay a work in progress, right? But it started from being a single mother, married and divorced twice, which is the drama that it sounds like. And on top of that, healing from daddy abandonment issues and all of that kind of stuff. So starting my healing journey in what is this, 2023, starting my healing journey in 2018, 2017, a real healing journey,
Yeah.
right? Like sometime before that, I acknowledged, some of the reasons why I ended up in some of the spaces that I ended up. But just, I think even after you realize why you end up somewhere, it still takes some time to figure out how to start a healing journey, because that's not anything that we're ever taught.
Say that part
Right?
here.
Not anything that we're ever taught. What we're taught is to suck it up, put a mask on, and go out there and do what you do.
Mm-hmm. Or go to the altar.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to the altar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive in a little bit more. I want to take it slow with you, because I know what you do, but they don't. I want to take it slow. What does real healing look like for women like us?
So I tell my clients all the time, I will never tell you a lie. I would never, ever, ever tell you a lie. I would tell you the absolute truth. So there's no surprises, right? And then just for transparency, the journey it's hard, right? Like healing is hard. And it's hard because it is, again, it's something that takes us outside of our comfort zone, because that's the things that it take to get to a healing, to even get to a healing process, to even look for a healing process takes communication and communicating about some of the things that you have going on. And again, we're taught not to talk about these things, right? So that's what makes the journey a journey.
Yeah. So how I want to talk to the woman who says or who believes she don't need healing. She's already healed. Because we have some people that feel like, oh, Jesus healed me from that, or I was healed from that because I went to the altar. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So I believe in a higher power. I definitely, like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our higher power. I also believe that our higher power aligns us with the things that we need. So if you were truly healed, right, by just going to the altar, your higher power wouldn't align you to be in certain places with certain things or certain people, right? Meaning that could be good or bad. If you were truly healed, you wouldn't keep attracting the same negative people or
Yeah,
toxic people into your life. You wouldn't continue to make the same toxic choices for yourself.
I like that.
Okay. Also, if you were truly healed, there would be a sense of peace, even knowing that the journey is not done or
Mhm.
it's not over, but just feeling at peace, that like a sense of relief, like, I got to talk about this with somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a tool.
Yes. I would even say there is a sense of freedom and a liberty on how you move and navigate through life. You wouldn't be so close offish or closed minded, but you're welcome to invite people into your space, knowing that you have control over the outcome. And I say that because I deal with a lot of single women who have been hurt, but they want love, but they're still closed off. They want to be married, but they don't know what they want or how to receive what they say they want. They want these things, but they wouldn't put themselves out there like on a dating site or going out on the dates. Let's talk a little bit about that in the healing process.
So, one of the reasons why I started using the holistic techniques that I use is because adding that to my own healing journey, I learned that our emotions can be inherited and they can also be absorbed from the mother after the second trimester. So this means that you come into the world with other people's crap.
Mm.
So you come into the world with other people's crap, you start to manifest what you feel.
Mm. And is that so? Is that one of the reasons, the hardest reason why it is to make that shift?
It definitely is.
Are not aware of
Mhm.
what you picked up through the womb. Sometimes I call it getting womb healing.
Mm-hmm. Or you are aware because you saw your mother, your aunties, your grandmother, you saw them operate in a manner that you're operating in now, right? But again, it's not anything that you talked about. It's not anything that you can even go to these women and
Yeah.
say to them, I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, how can I change? How can I start a healing journey? This for the generations before us, most of the time, having these conversations is not an option.
See, look at this. Look, guys, if you are just coming in, we are talking to one of the powerful speakers of the Her Fire Tour. So you have not gotten your tickets, go ahead now to www.herfiretour.com. She will be joining us in multiple of the cities. You have to hear her. I love educated women who backs up their coaching practices. They just didn't wake up and decide, she just didn't wake up and decide, hey, I want to be a coach. But this is not an honorary doctorate, so she is a real doctorate, PhD graduate. We will get into those in a moment. This is the caliber of speakers that God has sent into the Her Fire Tour to make sure that every participant get what they need. When I say breakthrough, I mean a real breakthrough. You can leave with the contact, with the connections that you need, with the coach that you need, the speaker that you need is going to help you go to the next level. So if you have not registered, get your tickets, whether it's Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland, Raleigh, Charlotte, Myrtle Beach, www.herfiretour.com. So let's get back to the conversation. I love these type of conversations because just like you and I, it's a lot of our journeys, and especially as Black women. It's so important that we get on this path of healing, not just in the church, but outside the church. There is no one way to healing. There are several ways to healing. It depends on what your call, what your purpose, and the journey that you are on. Your healing is going to look different. I tell people all day long, I got my real healing when I began to tap into the coaching world. I don't know, I can't tell you how many fasts I done been on, how many times I done called on Jesus at the altar, how many times I done laid prostrate at the altar. Lord, take this away from me. I don't know how many times, oiled up, lay hands, drunk, all those things to get healing. And I remember I had this dream. A man was casting his demon out, so he thought. So I thought, and God tapped me on the shoulder in the dream. He said, "That's not it."
Mm-hmm.
And I say all that because we have been taught a lot of misinformation when it comes to healing, especially in our Black culture.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dive a little bit of the healing mentality that we have to go through from slavery, from my ancestors, into now. Her eyes are like, whoa, I didn't know you was gonna go there. But yes, let's dive into that because it's still passed on through generation. And a lot of people feel like it's a generational curse. I don't believe in generational curses. I believe in generational patterns that was
Mm-hmm.
passed down. So let's talk a little bit about that in your professional opinion.
So the trauma might feel like a curse, especially again, like I said, when you look back and you be like, oh, my aunts did this, my grandmother did this, my sister, like, and it wasn't productive and it was harmful to the well-being of your family. So it might feel like a curse. But you're absolutely right. It's a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And for most, again, this is what took me down the holistic road. When you tell me, right, that emotions can be inherited from your ancestors, what does that mean? That our culture has inherited trauma.
Yes, because
So it would explain.
yeah, when people don't
Yeah.
say emotions, it's energy in motion, and
Yes.
there's no eyes to energy in motion. There's no ears. It's passed on to who's ever open to.
It is passed down. That's where the pattern comes from, because the actual emotions of our ancestors have been passed down. So whatever lineage you come from,
Yeah.
whatever traumas that they suffered, like again, I said to myself, oh, I'm a little Black girl. I come from slaves. So this explains why our culture is in the state that it's in, and it's on a hamster wheel. It's so hard to get off because it's deeply embedded in us. And it's like I made that face when you brought up slavery because at the Juneteenth, the weekend before Juneteenth, I spoke at a conference about slave mentality.
Mm.
Right. And so again, our mentality, which is trauma, right? Our slave mentality has been passed down to us. Again, that's trauma. And we don't even realize it. We operate in slave mentality and we don't even realize we're doing it. We don't even see it, because when you hear the word slave mentality, what you think of is colorism, crabs in a barrel, right? But it runs much, much deeper than that.
Yeah.
Much deeper. The trauma of a Black woman, right, in slavery was, you don't own your space. Well, that's one of the reasons why, as Black people as a whole, we have a hard time creating boundaries, right? The trauma of being owned. We didn't own our space, right? But for the Black woman, not only did we not own our space, but we was responsible for everything and everybody.
Yeah.
We were responsible if we were in the big house, we were responsible for them and their families, and then we had a responsibility to our community outside of the big house.
And we didn't own our bodies.
Yes, I said that was the first thing I said. We didn't own our face, we didn't own our bodies,
Yeah.
and somebody else owned it. Somebody else had access to it. Somebody else said what we could do with it. And then on top of that, we had to give and give and give. We had to do for everybody. And so that's been something that has been passed down from generation to generation. That's where that superwoman crap comes from, you know, is that I give, I give, I give, I give, I pour into everybody else, and nobody's pouring into me. And once I pour into me, it's wrong, it's selfish, because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And other women will tell you that. Other Black women will tell you you're wrong when you get ready to focus on you and pour into you.
And this is what you're going to be bringing to the Her Fire Tour.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I am so excited. I'm so excited. I love empowering other women. I love empowering other coaches. I just, again, I started down this path because another one of our traumas is not knowing how to uplift each other. You know, and that's one of the things that I do see a shift, but I want the shift to continue because, again, this comes from slave mentality. They want to keep us divided because, honey, we are so powerful that they know that we better not band together.
Listen, yes.
Because if we ever get together and put our Black girl magic in one space together,
yeah,
it's over.
Yeah, we have seen little sprinkles of it, the marches and people coming together. But my thing is, don't just make it when something traumatic happened. Can this be our normal? Right? Can this be our normal that we come together and love on each other? And that's one of the things that I love about the Her Fire Tour is the sisterhood, is the connection, the purity of heart when women come together. This is what I believe. I believe an empowered woman empowers her house. And then when the house is empowered, she can empower the community. And when the community is empowered, they can empower a city. When a city is empowered, they can empower a whole state. And then once that state, then they can begin to cross state borders and then international borders. Everything rises and falls on the feminine energy, the woman, the womb man. And when the world knows it. And that's one of the things that I love about doing women empowerment events is the unity when we come together. We coming together and the whole agenda is healing. I can just imagine how many women walk out of there
with something.
With something to start or continue her journey to put over the edge into her breakthrough. I believe everything we do is another added bonus to our healing journey. That is what the Her Fire Tour is all about. So if you're just coming in, if you have not registered, we are coming to a city near you. www.herfiretour.com. I have a song. www.herfiretour.com. Go ahead and get your tickets, get your girlfriends, your sister, your mother, your cousins, your besties, your church friends, whoever you know that is a woman. Everybody needs empowerment. Everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs a community. And if you have a community, I want you to ask yourself, are you growing like you should with that community? You know, because we can say, well, oh, I have this group and this group. But if you look at it from an energetic space, you're only going to go so far in that space before you can really, really, really grow. So with that being said, let's get into what you do, some of the practices that you use, and how you have successfully helped your clients with the methods that you use?
So I use traditional methods. I have a background in counseling and therapy. And originally, before I started my own practice, that was a field that I worked in. Those were the practices that I used. And then I was introduced to the holistic methods. And I'd already started my practice when I was introduced to a energy healing practitioner. And originally, like we had this conversation, and she was like, "Well, coach me on how to lose weight, and then I'll give you some energy healing sessions." So we swapped sessions. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, right? On my very first session, about 2 days after the session, when I went through what we call a processing period after you receive energy healing, all of these things just started coming to me. I did some connecting with my mother. That was energetic, right? It ended up in a conversation, but the coming together was very energetic because during my sessions, she also received some healing as well. And that can happen if you remove inherited emotions, negative trapped emotions. It removes from the lineage. Okay.
Yes.
So when I was introduced to these methods, later on, when I spoke to the practitioner, she said to me, she was like, you should really think about adding this to your practice. Like, you're already good at coaching, you should add this. And I was like, no way, this is not for no. This is like, I felt amazing, but it was still uncomfortable because I'd never even thought about using any form of holistic methods for anything, right? Especially energy healing. And most of the time when we hear the word holistic, we think about food and we think about herbs and holistic medication.
Yeah.
Even as a Black culture, we don't even think about energy healing and using this as a way of healing.
Okay, let me,
Um,
let me let me stop you right there. Let me stop right there. I want to address the spooky people, right?
mhm.
Because when people hear energy healing, they automatically think of something spooky. They automatically go to this is not of God. This goes against the word of God. They really get into this spooky aspect. And I remember when I first started hearing it years ago, I thought the same thing, right? And some people don't know energy healing just really can be used in breath work. Is that correct?
Yes. It's so many modalities. It's a
Yes.
billion modalities in energy healing, Um, and again, when my first session, I wasn't nothing spooky about it, wasn't nothing out of the ordinary, was very even at that moment, the things that came up, it amazed me. And I felt so good days later.
Yeah.
I felt really, really good just from one session. But it was those thoughts. Like when she said I should add it to my practice, I was like, hell no. Like, like, okay, I stepped out. I'm a coach, so I kept an open mind and I stepped out the box. But no, lady, that's your thing, right? But a month later, when I saw my results, right, I thought about how amazing this would be for the women. I originally started my practice helping women get unstuck. So I just thought about how amazing this would be. So,
Yeah.
of course, I did a little bit more research about it and decided to get the certification just based off of my own results. As I started working in a certification, again, it gives you a little bit more information on how our energies work, how harmful it is to not process your emotions and process experiences, and how this energy
Yeah.
sits in your body and damages your body.
We talking about
right?
organs, tissues, all that. With people,
Everything, every part of your
yeah,
body, your mind, organs, you know, your physical, your emotional, your mental, all of this energy affects your body. And so, and the holistic world or the holistic community, they're very spiritual people, right? And it's just like anything else. It's just like when you practice a religion, they teach you that there's heaven or there's God and there's the devil. So I'm pretty sure, I've never met anybody, but it's you could take anything and use it for bad,
right.
you know, but they're very spiritual people. They believe in a higher power. They believe in peace. They believe in, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Like they believe in all of these things. Like we were talking the other day, they believe in the spiritual aspect of the Bible. You know, it's the controlling man written part
Yeah,
that most people go against in
yeah.
in a community. It's about the spirituality.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that really began to shape my perspective is when I started to study science. I tell my G baby, if you don't learn nothing else in school, learn about science, right? When I really
Right.
started getting into the science of spirituality, the science of energies and how they work with emotions, like I used to wonder why every time I pray, I cry or every
Mhm.
time I'm so sensitive. Now I've learned to use that as a form to release, as a form to release the blocked up energy in me. My thing is
Right.
I gotta cry. If I go 2 days without crying, it's something wrong. I
Mhm.
gotta cry. So for me, I love it because I understand the science of what's going on. I understand my body need to release on a
Yes.
daily basis.
Mhm.
A
Mhm.
daily, and sometimes I'm so tuned in that I can wake up in tears. When I've been going and going and going, I will literally wake up in tears, boo crying, because my body is used to
Release.
release
Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Now,
it.
once your body knows what that feels like, it it needs it. Well, that's one of the things that I noticed that once I started energy healing,
Yeah,
getting my own sessions, like I felt what the release of the weight felt like,
yeah,
which your body gets immune to feeling the baggage.
yeah,
Once you release it and you know what it feels like for a minute, if I experienced something that made me upset or sad or hurt, it felt a little bit more intense because my body didn't have the armor of the baggage.
yeah. I was I was in an interview and I was asked a question, what do I do when I start to get emotional, when I feel discouraged or crazy thoughts start coming to my mind? And she was surprised because I said I process it. I I don't try to block it out. I don't say it's the devil. I understand of getting my pen, getting my
Right.
today I feel discouraged. Today I feel like giving up. Today I feel like it is hard that nothing is going my way. Right? I write all that down, and I'm giving y'all some nuggets to a real breakthrough and a real perspective shift. I start writing it down. Right? Then I
Mhm.
look back. I understand I may feel this way, but this feeling is temporary. I only feel like this because I haven't been filling my cup. I feel this way because I've been working and working and working and not taking time to release. I understand that all things always works out for my good and that God is always working for me. I understand that I'm just in a process. And
So,
go ahead.
so you're maybe out of all the women I've gone to a lot of conferences. I've, encountered a lot of women, and you're probably like the second woman that I've ever met that knows how to process their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, this is not something that we're taught, but that's exactly part of the way that I teach my clients
Yeah.
to process, right? Journaling is a requirement because it is a form of processing, acknowledgement, and it brings about some self-awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also tell them when you're processing, right, is one of the things that you said, okay, I'm feeling this, like also being able to know and acknowledge exactly what it is you're feeling.
Yep.
Sometimes where we feel angry, right? But if we really sat down or we journaled about it or we thought about it, you would say, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Or I'm feeling jealous. Or
Yes,
yes. Yeah.
anything. Like if you really sat and thought about it, you're not really angry, you're disappointed or you're jealous, right? But because we're not taught to process and we're taught to suck up everything and put the mask on, we go to anger because anger is the emotion that we're most familiar with, and it's also the most safe. It doesn't require the vulnerability that saying I'm
Yes.
disappointed or saying that I'm jealous, right? It doesn't require that vulnerability.
Or that rawness. Yeah.
Yes, and then you get to react, right? If I curse you out because I'm angry and I say, well, you made me mad or you made me angry, versus I curse you out and say, I did it because I'm jealous or I'm disappointed.
Yeah. It's a difference.
No, yeah,
Look, I'm telling y'all,
yeah.
this is the caliber of speakers that we have at the Her Fire Tour. Women that are equipped, women that have the passion. So if you have not gotten your tickets, go to www.herfiretour.com. www.herfiretour.com. Dr. Tanya is one of the speakers for the Her Fire Tour. I'm so super excited. She have an amazing story, like some of you guys that have had this life altering moment to say, you know what, today begins my healing journey. I don't want to live like this another day. I call it, you took ownership. You took ownership of who you are, where you've been, and where you're going. Just because those things happen to you does not mean that is who you are. Just because they said those things to you does not mean it is who you are. When we really get to the space where we own our identity, when we own who we are more willing to go through the healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
We are more willing to go through the healing journey. I'm learning that more and more. The more I own my greatness, I own who I am spiritually, emotionally, everything that makes up Angela Brand. The more I own it, the more women that I can help. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to be talking about during the Her Fire Tour, what they can expect when they go ahead and register to be a part.
So I'm definitely going to tell my story because just like you said, owning you and who you are and every part about your journey is the most amazing part of the journey. And I could actually say that once I owned even where I was at in my journey and why I was there, that was the breakthrough. That was a breakthrough in my journey. That's what started my journey, was that simple question: how the hell did I get here? And answering it
Yes, and answering it.
truthfully, being vulnerable, even with myself, and telling the truth on how I ended up there and owning it. Yes, this person, was financially abusive, and emotionally abusive. Yes, he was crap. But how did I end up there? How did I get there?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody put a gun to my head and say, marry him. As a matter of fact, everybody was looking at me like I was crazy and told me to do the total opposite.
Wow.
Right. But so ownership, it's so empowering. It's scary to most people, but it is empowering. The minute you step out of victim mode and into the power of your choices, good or bad,
Yes.
the moment you start to change your life.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
so that's sort of what I speak about in my when I'm speaking to women and I'm telling my story. Those are the most important parts of my story that I tell. I'm vulnerable and I tell, some of the things that I've gone through to get here, but then I talk about how I stepped into my power.
Yes. Yes. So, in your words, why should women register for the Her Fire Tour?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. When you again, when you are um when you realize that the world has designed us to stay separate, right? And not to connect and see the power in each other,
Yeah.
right? When you learn that and you do the opposite of what you've been taught, and you step into a room that has that much power in it, again, that is something that could put you in that space that you've been just waiting to get to. You just didn't know how to, or you was afraid, or you didn't feel confident enough. And
Yeah.
you hear one thing from one woman that could lead you to that space and give you the confidence and the power just to make that one step.
Yeah.
You hear some of these stories and you say, well, hey, if she could do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes is just hearing something. And one of the things that I've learned too about being in these spaces is that for the most part, people people are led to be there and they don't realize it. The universe led them there. They led them there for a reason. You won't find out the reason until you get there.
Yeah.
It could be like you said, to meet your coach, to hear that one thing that you needed, to see that one thing that you need, to
To me,
see
yeah.
a room full of powerful women. You won't know until you get there. But if you're hearing this and it's on your heart and you're debating, should I go? If even if it's a debate, the universe put it on your heart for a reason.
That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I always tell my clients, get out your head and get in your heart, because if we were trained to not to follow a heart because it's wicked and deceitful of all measures, who can know it? But in the same token, God said, I give you the desires of your heart. So there's a conflict in our heart space. And now we have a lot of people in their heads, they're overthinking. Even when you go to college, you're trained to think critically, you're trained to analyze situations, but you're not trained in a heart space. As a people, we are not trained to follow our heart. So I always tell my clients, get out your head. But I
Mm-hmm.
can't leave you in your head for a long time. I got to get you in your heart, because we run from emotions, we run from feeling. And when you're in your heart space, it causes you to feel,
Yeah.
causes you
Mm-hmm.
to sit in what you've been running from. Your brain is conditioned to keep you safe. Your brain is conditioned to keep you in an environment where you're not uncomfortable. But you're
Mm-hmm.
everything that gonna take a big decision has to come from the heart space. That when you follow your heart, the numbers is not going to add up. Things are not going to fall together, but you will
That makes
feel
sense.
like this
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm supposed to do. When people try to talk you out of doing certain things, if you feel this is what you're supposed to do and you are aligned with who you are in your purpose
Yes.
and
Yes.
are aligned with God, everything that he wants to speak through you, he will speak through your heart. I've never heard God speak to me in my head. I always felt God in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
always felt the vibration of his voice or the idea or the unction or what we call intuitive or discernment that
I
led
was going to say that.
certain spaces. And,
Mm-hmm.
me, one of my assignments is to help women to make decisions from her heart space. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
some things have to be in line. Yes, some things is divine timing, but most things on a day to day is learning to follow your heart. If you believe your heart is wicked, then guess what? It's going to be wicked.
Wicked.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're putting different things into your eye gates and you're not purpose minded, you're not following what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's going to be difficult
Mm-hmm.
because now your heart is not even with you.
It's funny because I never even looked at it that way. I tell my clients something similar though, you
Yeah.
know, like I tell my clients, I teach them to listen to their intuition because just like we've been taught not to listen to the heart as women, our higher power gave us intuition and they're connected. Your heart and your intuition is connected.
Yeah.
We've been taught like it's there and it's strong, but it's dimmed because we've been taught not to listen to that. This is the day and age of receipts. So if I say I feel something or I have a inkling of something, prove it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're crazy. So because you know that that's going to be your response, you ignore what your gut is telling you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if your intuition is telling you, like you said, to do something, to make a choice. And I tell my clients all the time too, like one of the things that you're gonna learn to do when you work with me is to know when you're aligned to do something. And it starts with the consultation. When you come in a consultation with me, you knew when you were at the conference that you needed something. I've had women literally say to me, I was drawn to come over here.
Yeah. Or look at this. I've been praying for God to do
Something.
something. And
To
then
show me something.
in it, you like, okay, I don't know.
Oh, I'm scared. Yeah,
Yeah, like when I had,
exactly.
yeah, like when I had
Yeah.
the speaker interviews, my thing I always ask people what led you to the Her Fire to apply, where I was in line with the vision or I was led, but they don't take the extra leap to become a speaker. That's
Mhm.
because they got in their head.
Yeah.
It wasn't following their heart because if you sat on an hour Zoom and you listen and you knew you was led, and if it kept coming up on your feed, if you kept seeing a flyer, if you kept seeing
Mhm.
that's God telling you you need
Knowing you.
to
Yeah.
be there. He
I
said
say that.
be there.
And when that happens, when a woman comes up to me at a conference or an event and tells me that, and then when the opportunity is presented and they decline, I say, do you know how crazy this is? Like, are you realizing
Yeah,
what you said to me? You walked up to me and said you was led to come into this building, and you was drawn to this side of the room.
that's the
Now,
subconscious conditioning.
yeah. And so now you've been aligned with what you're supposed to do, and you're denying it.
Oh,
And sometimes when I get into calls with my clients and I say, listen, when you align to do something, you don't worry about how it's going to happen. You don't worry about that part. I guarantee you at the end of this, you're going to say to me, I cannot believe that I made this happen. Because I'm not going to lie, my service isn't cheap, right? But I say to them, if you was aligned to do this, it's going to happen. You don't have to worry about how. And again, I'm speaking from experience. I started this practice when left the job after working there for 12 years, a director of a mental health facility for 12 years, left that position without not one client,
mm, mm.
not one, not one.
So you was a director at a mental health. Let's get into a little bit of education for folks that um, need receipts.
Okay.
So let's get into what is your doctorate degree? What have you been used to receiving?
So I originally have a master's in counseling. I have an MBA. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice. Again, I was a director of a mental health facility for 12 years. Then I again felt my purpose, stepped out on faith, started my practice again, y'all, without not one client. I even had an office space that I was renting. Didn't know how I was going to pay for any of this stuff, right? And now I'm 4 years in to my business. And every single thing that I needed, the universe placed in my path.
Mm.
Okay. Um, and after a year, then I was introduced to the holistic methods, and I'm certified in emotion and body code, which is two separate certifications. And that is the energy healing modality that I'm certified in. I'm also a certified clinical hypnotherapist. After doing that for about 2 or 3 years, towards the end of last year, I think it was. Yeah, that stuff starts to run together. Towards the end of last year, I decided to work on my doctorates in metaphysics. So I'm a metaphysician, and a metaphysician practices working with the consciousness. And meta.
You just gave me a whole headache, right? A whole headache. Because I'm thinking of papers, research, reading. Okay. Okay. Metaphysics.
Yeah, and so the crazy thing is that after getting masters and going to school for 552 years, I was just like, I'm done. And it's like, before I started my practice, I was just like, I'm not going to get a doctorate or a PhD just to have doctor in front of my name. Like, it's nothing that I would be interested in doing just for the sake of doing it. It's a lot of work. And then I was introduced to someone who was a metaphysician. And I said, wait a minute, say it ain't so. Like, that's my field. That's what I love. That's already what I do. So again, when you're aligned with your purpose,
yeah,
if you know it's something that you're supposed to be doing, you just do it regardless of the work. It didn't even seem like work, really.
yeah. And it's so funny because I don't think I told you that I am on this journey in my to into philosophy. That is like really just turning my wheels. I've been doing a lot of study on philosophy and I thought about going back to school for it, but I'm like, do I really want to do that? What other way I can get there without doing that? So I started studying the power of the subconscious mind, how it works. And when I tell you it has it's beginning to revolutionize my life. Like you have a whole nother outlook. And that goes back to the ownership. My words were, you mean to tell me that I got power to change this through my subconscious mind? You mean to tell me that I've been struggling with this all these years and I had the power through my subconscious mind to change that? I got mad. I got mad. I got mad. And I had to put the book down. Like, you know what? This is really just pissing me off.
Too much. Yeah, this is too much. Like, I suffered all this time when all I had to do was change my freaking thoughts and beliefs.
Exactly. And people say it like it's so simple, and it's not. You have to be equipped before, because if not, you'll get frustrated. You feel like it's hard. And that pattern of wanting to give up will always do it. But I this is what came to me. When your subconscious mind is changing the belief, you're going to always see an old glimpse of the old person. You have to give it time to set in to a belief. So this is what I say. I believe, and I'm speaking this new belief into my subconscious mind that I'm able to do dot 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 dot. And when things don't go, no, subconscious mind, this is the new belief that we believe. So
Mm-hmm.
my
Get
behavior,
it together.
thinking everything has to line up with that. I didn't go into any type of deep, praying hard, yelling, casting out. No, I have the power to speak because I know my subconscious mind is the garden, and,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. And these are all the things, some of the things that I've been teaching throughout the Her Fire Tour. So to have you come on board and where God already has me, my prayer is always send me the speakers that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Send
Mm-hmm.
me the speakers that you want to be a part of the tour because this is your vision. You already know what you put in me. You know what the women need that are coming. And one of the things I love to tell women, unlearn so that you can learn again.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Only what you know has been hindering you. So I don't believe when you know better, you do better. I believe when you learn
You
better,
do better.
you can
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
what you know. If you knew this already,
Right. Then you
life
would
would be
be
different.
all right.
But apparently
Yeah.
what you've been knowing has getting you to nowhere.
Nowhere. Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning all that to be open and all the things. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. I'm so super excited. So, what would you like to leave them? Your final words of registering for the Her Fire Tour.
Well, first of all, I'm so excited. So again, when you come into a room full of excited, powerful women, what? You don't know what's gonna go down in there. Like I am so super excited. I told you the other day when we spoke that I was so not expecting um to be so aligned and like have such a good understanding. I rarely meet people just in general that understand what I do, you know, what my gift is, how I can help change lives. Like that rarely happens. I do meet people that are open-minded and most of them be they're um at that space where they sick and tired of being sick and tired, so they willing to try anything. They might not trust it right at that moment, but they willing to try anything, you know. So I think that this is going to be such an amazing tour. Baltimore is going to be amazing. The women that are going to be there are going to be amazing. And like you said, I go there looking to leave with something. I'm no different. I'm no different than any other woman that's going to show up there. So I come there looking for something because, people get it confused. They think that because we coaches, we don't need motivation, that we are the motivation.
Yeah,
We are. I need the same thing that you need.
we need more. That's a
Oh,
we need more because we pour out more. That means we need.
yes. Yes, I need to hear a word of encouragement. I need to feel encouraged. I feel encouraged when I see other women doing something, being powerful. When I started my practice and I started going to these type of events, I was so motivated and empowered by seeing some of the amazing things that women come up with to start a business. I was like, oh my God, you thought of this? Like, it just amazed me to see other Black women just come up with some of these products or some of these items to start a business with. So you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to leave with, but I can guarantee it's going to be amazing.
Yes, yes.
It's
So
going to be amazing.
right. So look, you guys go ahead and register at www.herfiretour.com. Get your tickets, get your girlfriends, get there by train, bus, skates, boat, airplane, car, horse, donkey, bike, scooter, however you need. But to get to the Her Fire Tour, go to the website at www.herfiretour.com. Sing with me. www.herfiretour.com.
Huh.
You already know, guys. I will see you in the fire. Be blessed.
Bye.